milkshake, and a hamburger. We're talking Riverdale. This is a review for Riverdale, Chapter 28, There Will Be Blood. So I found tonight's episode to be very interesting after the last one was such a snooze fest. This one set up a lot of stories, and it kept going with other ones, but it took them some places. So like I said, I thought this episode was interesting. Okay, let's just get into the nitty-gritty. We had, 3-4 basic storylines. Basically, focusing on the main characters. We'll start with the one I found least interesting, Archie. So anyway, actually it's Archie and Veronica. We'll just put the two of them together. Anyway, Archie's dad, they meet with the lodges, and it turns out they want him to run for mayor because Mayor McCoy stepped down, and the guy who replaced her, or gal, is now stepping down themselves, so there's going to be a special election. I think I pretty much predicted that this would be a story, and I told you who would be a good story for. Archie doesn't like this because he thinks that if his dad runs for mayor and he's in that mayor position, and his campaign is funded by the lodges, then they'll own him. So he's trying to talk his dad out of it and kind of going against the lodges, behind their back, so to speak. But like I said, I don't find Archie being seduced by the lodges and their mafia family very interesting, and I don't find Veronica's role in this, in this family, this crime family, to be that interesting. She's always rebelling against them instead of getting involved with their shit, and it just kind of goes back and forth. And that's the same way with Archie. It's let's just think. He spills the beans to Jughead because Jughead's, trying to get dirt on Hiram. And that, creates this conflict with him and Veronica, which is quickly solved because Veronica falls on her sword for him. And, at the end of the episode, he, through his maneuvering, his dad's going to still run for mayor, but he's not going to have anything to do with the lodges. So then, cool, but here's the thing. Archie is sticking with him. He makes a blood pact with Hiram that he's going to put Hiram's family above his own. And I'm just rolling my eyes at this. I'm like, fucking A, Archie. Your dad is in bed with them just like you are. Why are you trying to kick him out? Why are you trying to protect him? He should be trying to protect you and trying to, break up, you and Veronica and get you out of the family. And, now that he's kicked his father out, yay! But Archie's sticking around with it. And it's like, is he trying to play them? What's going on here? And it just seems like it's going to be just bouncing back and forth. And it's just not going to be that interesting. What is going to be interesting is Fred's still running for mayor, and now Hermione is also running for mayor. So that might be interesting. And like I said, Archie's going to be on the lodge's side. I think it would have been more interesting if he had stuck with his father, saying how he got him kicked out of the family. It's like, oh, Archie, you can't, you kind of stabbed us in the back. You're out. And then it's the lodges versus the Andrews running for mayor. Although, who I think should run for mayor? Fucking Reggie. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so like I said, even though I kind of hated the Archie and Veronica stuff, I do like Hermione running against Fred for mayor. So that could lead to some interesting stories, and we'll see who wins. I'm gonna vote for Reggie. I'm voting for Reggie. Fuck it. I can't choose between those two. Also, this is the episode where we find out that Hiram's big plan for Riverdale, why he's buying out all this property. Actually, I'll get to that when we do Jughead, even though it didn't come up in Jughead's story. So, Betty, okay, there's some bad shit going on with the Coopers. Actually, I'm trying. See, a lot of these stories are intertwined, so I don't know which one I should cover first. But we'll go with Betty's because hers is simpler. Okay, so Betty thinks her brother is nuts. Meanwhile, her father wants a divorce. Her sister reappeared in this episode, bringing the nephew and niece with her. beautiful little babies. And, Betty's like, Penny, you can't keep these kids around Chick. He's a killer, and she convinces Penny in this episode to, take off again. And meanwhile, for reasons I won't get into until I get into that actual story, Chick, he was supposed to take a blood test for something. He denied it. This got Betty's senses tingling, and she got some DNA on him. And by the end of the episode, she's like, "Hey, Chick, you're not who you say you are." And that was interesting because I think a lot of people predicted that one, either he is not Hal's son, or, and I'm thinking this was the theory that I had, that he is not Chick Cooper at all. He's an imposter, and the guy that he killed, or maybe it was Alice. I can't remember who they said killed him because we didn't see it. That was the real Chick, and we'll have to see. But we know, at the very least, he's not a complete blood relative of Betty. He's either a half-brother or not her brother at all. I'm thinking half-brother just because of the way that she said it, or if he was, she's like, "You're not who you say you are." Like like the DNA thing had shown that they're kind of related, but not completely related. You should be like, okay, what does this mean? Who is this guy's father? But if it was completely, "You're not related at all," she'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?" Okay, so I mentioned Jughead. I guess there really wasn't much of a story there that I haven't really covered, except, like I said, he's investigating the lodges. And, Archie tells him, "Hey, Pops sold Pops to Hiram." So he goes and interviews Pops, and Pops kind of guilt trips him into not telling everyone because it's been in my family for decades, and if my mother heard it, it would break her heart and she would die. Can you just kind of keep it a secret till she dies? And then later we see Pop talking to Hiram, telling him, "Hey, Jughead's, trying to figure things out." And, he talks to his father, who at one point worked for the lodges to, drive down the price of the movie theater by showing up with the serpents, turning it into a bad place. Property value just went, whoop! And then, they ended up buying that property. And, Jughead's like, "Oh, this is all connected." He sort of figures it out. And, he goes to Weatherby with Betty and says, "Hey, can we, well, actually, before that, they talk to Smithers. Remember Smithers? The kindly old doorman who got fired by Hiram because he was too friendly with Veronica, warning that her father was going to come in at one point when they were having a fight. He's loyal to her, but not to Hiram more. He meets up with Jughead, he kind of deep throat style, and he's like, "Hey, Hiram was talking to this one warden in a prison. They kept going back and forth. I collected his mail. There's something there." Like I said, Jughead talks to his father about their background, and they say, "Hey, I got friends up in this prison. It's not Sing Sing, but a Swing Swing or something like that, because they always do parody names with in the Archie comics, so they transfer that over to the show. So it's Swing Swing or something. So they go up to Swing Swing and talk to FB's friend, and he basically gave him the information I think they wanted to hear. Like I said, him and Betty, they go to Weatherby with this information because they want to print it in a paper. But Weatherby's like, this is school paper, asshole. And of course, the regular Riverdale Register has been brought up by Hiram Lodge, and they can't do it there. And he's like, "What are we gonna do? I'm a Jew with no tribe. I'm a reporter. I got no one to report to. We got all these stories." It's like, oh, come on. Like, he wouldn't just go over to Greendale or whatever like the biggest state paper is. Like in Iowa, it's the Des Moines Register. I don't know, New York Times if it's in New York, whatever. Or just for fuck's sake, put it on the goddamn internet, YouTube, Twitter, something. But anyway, like I said, the big secret turns out to be that Hiram wants to buy up all this land so he can create this private, for-profit prison. And everything's going to be connected to it. So Riverdale is basically become a prison town. which isn't going to set too well with people. But what are you going to do? Because Hermione is now running for mayor, which actually, that seems like a mistake. Because there's all sorts of like cronyism, nepotism laws in place that if she's going to be deciding, hey, this property can be sold as a prison, I'm the mayor, I'm going to make a choice, she's supposed to sit out of these things. They still need a puppet in there. If they have Hermione, people are going to know how full of shit they are. Because it's like, oh, your husband's running this prison, and you're giving them tax breaks, and you're letting them take this property. I wonder what's going on here. That makes no goddamn sense now that I think about it. I didn't even think this through. Unless, of course, they want to put a puppet in head of the prison profit. Unless they want to put a puppet in charge of their private, for-profit prison. Yeah. But like I said, that's interesting. We finally know what Hero's big plan is. And it's like, how is Jughead and his friends going to disrupt this? Can they trust Archie? Who gives a fucking shit? I just can't stand Archie. Not so much the characters, just the stories they put him in are just so boring. Fucking A. Give Reggie something then. So we have something interesting to watch. But I have missed the big one, Cheryl's story. Not too much with Cheryl. Her father's will is going to be read, and it's going to go public. And among the different things, like one house went to the mother, that's the one that got burned down. The other house, that's the one they're living in, that goes to his mother. Half of his fortune is going to go to his children, which is just Cheryl now. And the other half is divided up amongst blood relatives, which would also include the Coopers. That's why Chick didn't want to take a blood test, which clearly says he's not Hal's son. I mean, even if he's Alice's son with FP or Mr. Weatherby or whoever, he's not Hal's son. Because that's the DNA they would have been looking for. Okay, well, like I said, that was the other half of the will. And who should appear but Clifford Blossom? And, and Cheryl sees him and passes out. Turns out it's not Clifford Blossom, it's his twin brother, Claudius. And his story was that, him and Clifford were rivals for the Blossom fortune. Clifford put a gun to his head and says, hey, you don't take off, get lost, I'm going to kill you at some point. Because that's what us Blossom twins do. Which, despite the fact that they look alike, would probably mean that they're fraternal twins. Because we know that the twins run in the Blossom family. And that is something that would happen with paternal twins. Like two twin brothers who aren't identical, or twin sisters that don't look identical, like the Olsen twins. Or like with, one brother, one sister. Identical twins, that's just a random occurrence in nature. That doesn't transfer through the family lines. But fraternal twins, that's a thing. Where, like, different generations of the same family will have fraternal twins. Anyway, that's not important. It's just something I like. That's an interesting fact. You remember how we used to do that? Well, like I said, it's being played by the same actor. And, he's their long-lost uncle. And, he's in the Merchant Marines. We don't get too much else about him except for the fact that he's been to Lesbo. Which I thought was my favorite line in the thing, because Tony's there talking to him, and Penelope's being a bitch. Is like, you can just ignore this person. I thought it was going to be family only. And he goes right away, I have been to a lot of places. I remember this one island I went to. The island of Lesbos. it was funny just that he would say it. Anyway, like I said, he's going to stick around. And at the end of the episode, when Hermione's giving her big I want to be mayor speech, he's like, oh, the fucking lodges, I don't like them. And Penelope's like, hey, let's stay on course here. One track, okay? We'll deal with the lodges later. And he goes, yeah. Remember, first you take care of Nana, then you take care of Cheryl. And Cheryl's in the background, overhears this whole thing. So that seemed pretty cool. You know, it's like what's the plan? They plan on old Nana Rose and Cheryl, her mother and her uncle. Also, do they have a past? I mean, it sounds like Claudius has been out of town for a while, but Penelope, I don't know if they're working together already. It seems like they've known each other for a while. Or, and I don't even think this would be that ridiculous, it's actually Clifford. Like at some point, Claudius brought back Clifford. He says, hey, check it out. Could you pretend to be me for a while? I'm going to be out of town for no apparent reason. And he's the one who ended up being hanged. Yeah, that might be it too. Because I kind of wonder, like, I know they wanted to bring back, like, when they said the whole blood thing, you knew that you were going to be seeing these blossoms that you've never seen before. It's like, anyone with blossom blood. And they'd be bringing in all these cousins and step-cousins and, like, second cousins 3 times removed. And who knows what kind of characters we would see. But instead we get Clifford's twin brother. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they just liked that actor. They felt bad for killing off his character. But, you know, that's why they just created this character to bring back the actor. But, I mean, I don't see the point why he had to be a twin. Yeah, a fraternal twin brother. But played by the same actor, you kind of go for, like, an identical twin brother. I mean, what would be the purpose of that? Unless, like I said, he actually is her father, and they fake their death with Claudius. That's just my thought on that. I don't see why, like I said, like they would have it played by the same actor. If you just wanted to bring in, you know, this uncle character, you could have him played by anyone else. I almost thought it was the one guy from Star Trek First Contact. I can't think of his name, which is a shame because he is such a great character actor. He was also in Captain America, First Avenger. He played, oh God, you can't even think of the character's name. Dun Dogan. And in First Contact, he played Lieutenant Hawk. The one guy who goes with Worf and Picard underneath the ship to fight off Borgs, gets attacked by the Borg, gets turned into a Borg, and then gets killed off by Worf. And like I said, that guy, that's who I thought it was at first. I could see him playing just a brother of Clifford Blossom that wouldn't be an identical or fraternal twin brother. But like I said, they went with the same actor. I don't know. I haven't got too many more theories I haven't covered. But I just found this episode interesting. I think it's because they started up some interesting storylines, like the prison is coming to Riverdale. Ooh, we gotta stop it. We got Fred versus Hermione in the mayor race, and we got this new uncle of Cheryl's, and it kept my interest. I thought tonight's episode was pretty good, and that's all I got.